Mr. Speaker, the highest principle of Canadian democracy is that if you want to be Prime Minister, you get your mandate from the Canadian people, not from
Comes on the heels of President Obama's trip to Canada yesterday. While there, Mr. Obama took time to praise Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper for his country's commitments to the war in Afghanistan.
I certainly did not press the Prime Minister on any additional commitments beyond the ones that have already been made. All I did was to compliment Canada.
Suzanne Malveaux is live for us at the White House today, and President Obama striking a tone that we didn't really hear in the Bush years, but still some tensions between the U.S. and Canada, particularly over this idea of renegotiating NAFTA and then the Buy American clause in the stimulus bill.
You know, John, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of sticky points between these two leaders, but you really are getting a different kind of tone from this president. Back when President Bush was meeting with Stephen Harper, the prime minister, these two leaders, they had a lot more in common with their conservative views in their parties. But what President Obama is trying to do is simply show the rest of the world, setting the stage, that this is going to be a more nuanced and diplomatic way of doing business, that you're not going to get these kind of public ultimatums. We know that the president wants more cooperation from NATO allies. We know that he would love to have those Canadian troops stay longer than 2011, but it's just not a place where he is going to go. It really is a signal to the rest of the world, not just Canada, but all those other leaders who were watching yesterday. How are you going to deal with me? He wants to show them that it's going to be diplomatic and respectful, John.
Suzanne, though, the Canadian Prime Minister, being stern with the new president, saying that we expect the United States to live up to
NAFTA, as expected, borders, auto plants, jobs, and the thickening of the borders. Let's bring in Patricia Murphy, if we can now. Patricia, thanks so much for joining us. Joe Klein joining us as well with Time Magazine. I want to show you guys some pictures real quick. This is interesting. Prior to this meeting, I want to show you the pictures that were being released today from Canada when the president arrived. Now, keep in mind, this is the first time that he's gone outside the United States, representing the United States of America. You almost get a sense that he was certainly not jocular, never flippant, not goofy, very light on his feet, seemed almost very comfortable in this setting. Patricia?
Well, I totally agree, and that is definitely the message that he wanted to send, and he wants to send this message not just to Canada, but to the world. This trip is actually being watched around the world since it's his first foreign trip, but to say that America is your friend, Canada, America is a friendly presence, and he wants to really hit the reset button with America's relationship with the rest of the world, and so you see him there with the Prime Minister. We also saw him meeting with the Queen's representative. He went outside and waved to Canadians right when he got to Parliament Hill. So it's definitely a new image that he's trying to portray.
Well, Joe, the United States of America, he faces some situations in terms of foreign policy and the agenda where not only the surroundings are difficult, but the promises he has made are going to be hard to keep up with. How do you fit Canada, Murph, into this equation, or do you?
Well, Canada certainly is a crucial ally for the United States, and we saw there that Obama was speaking with the Prime Minister of Canada about Afghanistan and Canada's role in Afghanistan. They've been a great partner to us. They're also talking about trade, talking about energy. Canada and the United States are crucially integrated on all of those topics, but they have to be a very close ally. We cannot take that great relationship for granted, and that's why he's going there first.
But a lot of people, the president of the former president of the United States chose to talk
to get back to Canada for a second, and the Afghan. I was down in Kandahar province where those Canadian troops are, and they are walking the walk. They are a very good ally for us right now, and they're looking pretty good. They regulated their financial community in a little bit more strict fashion than we have, so they're not hurting as much. They're helping tremendously in Afghanistan, and so I think that this visit today was a real acknowledgement of the fact that the Canadians are being very good friends so far.
Mr. Speaker, 7 months ago, the Prime Minister met with President Obama. 7 months ago, Buy American was threatening Canadian jobs. Country of origin labeling was hurting our pork and beef exporters. And a thickening border was damaging trade and tourism. 7 months later, these things have only got worse. For 7 months, the Prime Minister has ceased to have any credibility in advancing the Canadian cause in the United States. So how will the 42 minutes tomorrow be any different?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I anticipate not just with President Obama, but with congressional leaders discussing things like environment and energy security, discussing peace and international security, and of course, Mr. Speaker, discussing the economy, which all governments of the G20 are focused on primarily now, and which I would encourage the Leader of the Opposition to focus on.
I look around the room today. I'm not deluded. Some of you actually do support the Prime Minister.
We're more than just friends. Oh, baby.
Hey, Steve. It's me. If you're there, pick up. I was just watching you on CPAC. Anyways, call me back. You seem to